So Product Fit, just for you guys who don't know, is a company that I am the founder and CEO. We help investors, founders, and product teams acquire and grow profitable internet businesses. And so over the last few months, we've actually been able to build up a team of people who are looking to assist and help. So if you guys are in that realm of, I really try to acquire a business, I'm really looking for help, how can I get that help? That's going to be us. We can definitely assist you with that. So that's kind of just a shameless plug there. But before I dive into everything, just a little bit more about myself. Some of you guys may know me, some of you guys don't. I just wanted to, I put together a couple slides just to show, who I am. So I've actually worked at the Walt Disney Company for over 4 years, and primarily doing product management. And so product management, for you guys who don't know, it's really just an area where you're managing, overseeing development teams, building websites and apps. And product managers are responsible for bringing everyone together. And you can think of it as the producer of a movie or the conductor of an orchestra, right? They're the ones kind of bringing everyone together. And at my time at Disney, I've actually had a lot of roles and responsibilities as it relates to working on websites and e-commerce, content sites, search, and conversational AI. So have a lot of experience with the internet space. Have been able to drive a lot of assisted revenue for the companies that I've worked with, and have done a lot of major product launches. And when I started to do the acquisitions, when I started and learned a little bit more about this idea of acquiring businesses, I found that it was very similar to the process of building a product. So just for you guys who don't know, when you want to build a product or an app, right, there's many parts to that process. There's the sales team, there's the strategy, UX, there's lots of different pieces when building a product. And if you dive deeper into that, you can see there's a lot more complexity when it comes to building a product. So there's prototypes, and you have engineers, and you have front end, back end. And what I realized when I was going through this business acquisition process is that it's not too different from building a product. And when it comes to building a product, there's one thing that product managers and people who build products do really, really well, and that's move quickly. They are very agile in their approach and their methodology. One of the things that they call that is Scrum. And so when I decided to go out and try to acquire a business, I really tried to put that lens of how can I acquire a business in, let's say, 6 months or less, but doing it in a way that's very agile. And so the first tip that I want to share with you guys in terms of how I was able to do this is actually by applying this concept of agile when it comes to acquiring a business. So agile is just, again, a way to do it. You can actually, approach having a process like this to get you started. And so what I ended up doing actually was using a tool called Trello. And Trello is great. It keeps track of all your tasks. It keeps track of everything you need to do. And I actually used Trello as a way to keep track of all the different steps when it comes and relates to, acquiring a business. Things like, what are your personal goals? What are you trying to go after? A lot of times people who want to acquire a business, or they're thinking, they don't even know that acquiring a business is an option. They don't have a specific goal in mind. And so when I had started my journey, I realized that I needed to know what my personal goals were before I actually decided what kind of business I wanted to go after, right? So having that process really, really helped. And so what I ended up doing was I actually followed this whole process all the way through. And along the way, realized that having a partner was going to be really, really beneficial to this. And so that's my second tip, is really how do you find people who can join you in your endeavors. And so I so happen to be a part of a lot of different mastermind groups. I've made a lot of connections with people, and I did this specifically because I knew that it was going to benefit me in the long term. And so if you guys are starting off with your acquisitions and you're not into mastermind, or you're joining in you're not joining these groups, make the intention to put yourself out there, tell people that you're looking to partner up with someone, and chances are there's people out there who want to partner as well, right? So that's one. The other thing is really looking into your network and your groups of people. The second thing I wanted to bring up was the actual deal flow process. So, when I got started acquiring a business, I had so many, places to go in terms of trying to find deals. And, from an internet site standpoint, there's tons and tons of broker listing sites out there that give you that information. You can see right here some of that. I'll bring up one. And, it can get a little overwhelming when you're trying to look at the right deal. There's the perfect deal. You have a criteria. You're trying to find exactly, the one that fits your needs. And so, having that problem, I realized I needed to find a solution around it, because there were just so many different types of listings out there that all I was really looking out for was the actual revenue, the earnings, and the asking price, to do my own mental math of whether it was a good deal or not. Fast forward, with a little bit of help from a scraper and other tools, I was able to take this spreadsheet and kind of scrape all of the different listings across multiple sites, and produce what was an initial version of the spreadsheet that provided all of the relevant deals that were specific to my criteria. And this actually helped me to significantly focus my approach on the ones that met my revenue targets that I was going after, to be able to submit offers and get to that one that really led to an actual acquisition closing. So this is something that I definitely recommend. And one of the things that I want to share with more people as they're coming on board with us here at Acquisitions and Growth, just so that way people have a place to actually get started. Because one of the most difficult things to get started with an acquisition is just knowing which business to go after. And really looking at these numbers and telling yourself that 23 million, how do I even get 23 million to actually be able to put in an offer? And one of the things that I've learned along the way as well is that when you're actually looking at businesses to acquire, there's many different ways to actually structure deals, right? And when you structure deals, it really does depend on your relationship with financial institutions, with the seller, to be able to come up with a way that both parties feel comfortable with. And I just so happen to have been a part of, like I said, a mastermind group where I found a partner who was able to help me put in the funds that I needed. And I want to share a couple more. I actually shared one in the group earlier today, but this one in particular is really, really beneficial. Opportunity Network. I've heard a lot of great things about it. It's a great way for anyone who wants to, let's say, start to get some potential partners or investors for a deal. You can actually become a member and actually start the process to find potential investors that will put money into the deal. There's two versions of it. There's a light version, there's a premier. The light version is actually it's a great option for those people who have companies that are generating over 250,000 in revenue or liquid assets. You can actually become a light member. The process for it is basically they need you to verify your bank statements for that company to ensure that you actually meet that criteria. And by being able to have that, you're able to actually open up yourself to more opportunities, more investors, people that are looking to partner with you. The other option is the Premier, which again, this one is though for people who have over 2.5 million in revenues or liquid assets, but still a very, very valuable option for people who are getting started, or at least have the means for that, right? So looks like we have a couple more people who joined. Thank you guys for joining. We're just kind of going over some of the key steps, key process items that really helped me and my team to get to us to the point where we're acquiring some businesses. At the end, I'm going to open it up for questions and really just get people diving deeper into the areas that they're really struggling with, because I have a couple of other tools that really help with that. Right. So, okay. So, let me go back a little bit. So, being able to find the right investor was one part of the process. The other part of the process was to actually make the offer. And when making an offer, one of the things that I've learned is that, like I said, there's many ways to structure a deal. And luckily, with the help of this spreadsheet and a couple other different resources, you can actually change and play around with the variables of a deal to kind of see, can you actually, let's say, take loans or investor capital and cover some of the debt that you need, can the business itself actually cover the debt that you need to pay for that business? And so with this spreadsheet, you can see here, we were able to actually play with some of the numbers, and down below in the middle, we have this section called the coverage ratio. And a lot of for folks who don't know this, having a coverage ratio of 1.5 or greater is kind of the sweet spot where you want to go after, and being able to play around, let's say, with different variables of the seller's note or the cash flow loan will really determine if you have a good deal or not, right? So a lot of times people come into a deal, they're trying to actually negotiate with the seller. If the business is worth $2 million and you approach them with an offer that says, hey, I can buy the business for with a seller's note of $1 million with these terms, how does that look like? And sometimes that negotiation will go back and forth. One of the cool things about this sheet is that it actually produces a LOI template or an LOI, LOI offer based off of the variables that you put in. So for example, if you have a SBA cash flow loan that it's going to take about 2 million, right? You're trying to get SBA, the Small Business Administration, to help cover the business acquisition. You plug that in here, you put in the different terms. So you're trying to get that SBA loan for 5 years at a 6% rate, right? You see what that does to your coverage ratio. In this case, to 1.6, so that's pretty good. And then if you go to this side over here, you'll see that it actually puts in all of the numbers for you. And so all you got to do is go into a download PDF, and then now this becomes the actual offer letter that you submit to the different or to the seller in this case, right after you've made the offer. This LOI is not binding, not legally binding. So you could, in theory, put out offers to different companies, even though you don't have, let's just say, the necessary funds. But being able to get people to either just agree to some of the terms or start to negotiate will get you going down the path of finding the right financial partners to really find money for the deal. This is actually what we ended up doing. I ended up putting an offer on a business, and it was my way. I looked at all the numbers. It looked very, very good, very, very promising from an acquisition standpoint. Submitted an LOI offer, heard back from the broker, and actually we started the negotiations from there. So it goes to show you, all you got to do is just really start to make these offers with people. Obviously, you want to make sure that you can find the capital for this. And that's why, being able to talk to financial partners ahead of time also really helps. I can probably pull up for a later time a list of financial partners that you can actually call, or you can talk to, send them emails, and you just really start talking to them. I actually, when I started the process, I moved from LA to California to Florida. And when I came here to Florida, one of the first things I started to do was just start talking to banks and people, firms, institutes, or financial institutions, and just started saying, hey, here's some of the deals that I'm looking to acquire. What kind of terms can you give me? It really just gives you that practice of being able to talk to people. And sure enough, a lot of people actually offered me a ton of money to kind of put money into the deal. I did not end up going with them because the process wouldn't take too long. But it goes, again, it goes to show you that when you talk to financial institutions and you show them the deal, you show them the information, they start to become interested. Another thing that I want to make sure that I cover before I kind of go into some Q&A and everything is really just this financial modeling, which, I know that when I first started, I had a good concept of financial models, but I didn't really find the best ones. And so luckily I found this one where it does an excellent job of actually, showing and displaying the different pieces of information that, let's say, an investor or a financial institution will look for when you're trying to tell them that, I need $1 million for this business, and this is what the financials will look like in the future. So this financial model, I actually came across this from one of the people that I knew who works at this company called SlideBean. SlideBean is, for those of you guys who don't know, they help people, or actually it's an automated tool that creates pitch decks. So if you guys are trying to create your own pitch deck, but you don't have the design feel or the expertise, one of the cool features about this product is that they actually use AI or artificial intelligence to kind of design the slides or the presentation for you. And they also do, like I said, they have financial models. They can actually help create, slides for you. I have used them. It's a really great service, great product. So if you guys are trying to, create a pitch deck, so that way you can go out and talk to investors or talk to financial institutions, I definitely recommend SlideBean. One of the things that I'm going to try to do actually is to try to get a lot of the products and the services that I'm sharing right now as a discount for anyone who's going to be interested in working with me and my firm when it comes to getting these acquisitions closed. So definitely recommend these guys. Incredible product. But anyways, they actually helped produce this financial model, and with the financial model, you can go to pretty much anyone. You can start talking to them about what the business will look like when it comes to the future. What we ended up doing is, one of the cool things when you do acquire a business is that you actually get lots of past data, and that past data is what you can use to really project and look into the future. I like to say that we can model all we want, but at the end of the day, things happen all the time. So might as well use some of the past data and kind of use it as your reference point for the future. That's what we ended up doing, and it ended up working really well for us. So this is another great solution for anyone who's looking to get started again with acquisitions. The cool thing about this as well, I want to mention, is that, and this is for some folks who are joining. I know you guys probably, some of you guys are fresh, new, never even heard of the idea of acquiring a business. Some of you guys are probably, Rich, come on, give me the good stuff, right? But for those of you guys who are just getting started, the cool thing about acquisitions, and one of the things that I personally love about it, is that, it is a much higher success rate when it comes to, acquiring cash flow on in year one, right? When you're starting a business, for some of you guys, right, there's a chance that your business is not going to succeed. And the stat goes, right, 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, and only 10% are the ones who make it. But with acquisitions, you're basically taking that time that you would have spent, let's say, building a business. using that time to actually go out and acquire a business. Fun story. When I first, before I even started the acquiring business, I actually started this one website called Fetch the Moment. And this was a passion project. I have 2 dogs, and I figured I wanted to, start developing some passive income. And, I set out to do this. I created the site. Took me about 6 to 12 months to kind of start to build up the traffic, start to make some money off of it. And it's crazy to say that, now it is making some decent amount of money, but it took me 6 to 12 months just to start to get some of the traffic and some of the, results from doing this. Now, if I took those 6 to 12 months and put that towards, let's say, acquiring a business, I could have achieved a lot more revenue and cash flow, upon closing on that transaction, upon closing on the acquisition. So, for anyone, like I said, who is considering, acquiring a business, there's a lot more benefit when it comes to, getting started and spending that time on something that there's a higher chance that you will actually get cash flow and revenue once you've acquired the business. So that's just a side story, but really, really, like I said, valuable for anyone who's looking to get started. When it comes to deals, I've also been struggling to find even more deals. So right now I'm actually building up a private equity fund. We're going to be raising 200 million for that. And as part of that, I'm looking and constantly trying to evaluate deals. And my spreadsheet has been really helpful. I found a few more that are really great. But this is only broker listing sites, and there's plenty of other businesses out there who aren't even on the listings, right? They don't even know that they want to sell. And so there actually are people, there's services that help you with this. One of them is called Next Deal. So Next Deal, they actually, what they're doing is they're a service that connects investors with warm, broker-free small acquisition opportunities. So what they'll do is, depending on your criteria, let's say you're looking for brick and mortar websites, or you're looking for brick and mortar businesses that have certain revenue projections. What they'll do is they'll try to scrape and find information off of different locations and start to reach out to them and kind of start the conversation. And if they feel like that that business owner is looking to sell, they'll then make that introduction to you. I reached out to them. We had a conversations. They were not specifically focused on internet businesses. They're focused more on brick and mortar businesses. And so one of the things that I'm doing on the side, and actually with the development team, is we're actually building up our own service, our own type of platform that is going to be doing the same exact thing. But our pool of people is going to be a lot larger than just brick and mortar. And so that is something to stay tuned for as well, because it is, as they say here, baby boomers who own 2.34 million small businesses in the US are employing, more than 25 million people. So there's just going to be this huge transition of business opportunities from baby boomers into the next generation of people who have the capital means to buy the businesses. So a really great service. If you guys want to start using it, like I said, they do some of these introductions. I think what they charge about, I think, $500 per warm introduction. But like I said, my goal is actually, one of the things that we're doing with our companies, we're building out a lot of new tools to help and solve these problems. And one of the problems is this, right? How do you get access to more deals, especially from people who don't even know that they want to sell a business yet, right? So this is another one. Last thing I want to share before I start to kind of open up for more questions is this other tool that I came across. Another really great tool out there for anyone who is considering to acquire internet businesses. This is actually something that I'm looking to build out as well as part of our product platform. But you can see here, they will do something very similar. You can automate your deal flow where you actually, you set up a criteria for yourself of what you want to look for. They are right now are only looking at these sources. I actually have a few more in mind in my scraper. But it basically does the same thing. This is packaging it up in a product, and they're basically giving you access to those deals. Like I said, one of the cool things though with my scraper, better than this, is that it has a longer range, and when you set your criteria, you're actually setting your criteria for other factors, not just the numbers. And so if you're looking for specific types of businesses, related to a specific field or industry, type of business, that's one of the things that my scraper is going to be improving and doing much, much better over the years. So that is what I wanted to share. I wanted to, give an up. This is, like I said, one of the first conversations that we're going to do here. And I just wanted to share some of the bits and pieces of my process, and really use the rest of the time to do some Q&A, because one of the things I've realized is when I've been working with a lot of people, the fact that when you join these webinars, you only get so much. I think there's a lot more value that comes when you actually have conversations with different people. So I'm going to open it up for questions. And at the end of the questions, I'm going to share how you guys can start to work with me and my team, because the thing that one last thing I forgot to mention is the accredited network of people. For anyone who's getting started, this may seem a little overwhelming, or you're trying to find the right people to join or to be a part of your team. One of the things that I've kind of realized as doing this whole process is that it's important to have key people or specialists to assist you. And so one of the things that we're building out for ourselves is an accredited team or a specialist team of people who are going to be assisting in many, many ways on the buy side, on the build side, and then eventually on the sell side. So depending on whatever stage you guys are in, that's going to be something that's, this team of specialists is going to start to grow. And we want to start to help people and kind of connect people to the right specialists. I've been listening to a lot of different podcasts and people who talk about the importance of a team. And it's truly, truly something that I've learned over the years that it's incredibly important. And having a dream team or having a team of specialists who can assist you on the legal side, accounting, on all the different fronts, even financing, is what is important to have. And so we're building out a team right now. These are people who are experts and have done M&A before, and really going to be assisting in doing more transactions with us on product fit, as well as with some of our clients as well. So that's the accredited network side. And like I said, the key element to all of this is just getting started. And so for some of you guys who are in here, if you're just getting started, that is something that I can't stress enough, of having a plan, having a process. This is what really got me going, having an actual guide, if you will, right? So I kind of relate this to almost like a fitness trainer, right? If you're trying to get in shape and you're trying to get into the best body of you that you can, you can try to go and learn and watch on YouTube, or go and join courses and things like that. But the thing that's missing from all of this is just having an actual plan, a step-by-step plan that really says and keeps you accountable. For week 1, you should have done these things, right? For week 2, you should have done these things. And that's one of the things that we're building out right now. This is the first step, the first process to it, is having an actual Trello board or some sort of plan that gets you onto the right track. So if this is something that you're interested in, let me know, because we're building this out for ourselves, and we figure that this is going to be something that our clients and other people who want to work with us are really going to be interested in hearing about. So like I said, I'm gonna open it up for questions. If you guys have any comments, feel free to share in the Facebook group or in the chat. I'm going to, let's see, we have some questions. What is the allure of acquiring a business over other types of investments? Okay, cool. So there are many different types of investments. When I first got started, and working with people, working with advisors, financial advisors, they told me, are you interested in stocks? Are you interested in, real estate? Are you interested in, all these different things? And the reason why I decided that I really liked business as an investment opportunity was because it really matched with my core beliefs and my core values of value creation, right? And when it came to my expertise and my skill sets, I had worked in companies before, managing teams, managing products. So it was, for me, it was a very natural fit. And for anyone who is considering investing in some sort of asset class, there's going to be this huge, right now, a huge influx of people who are going to consider acquiring businesses as an investment opportunity, because it, again, matches and aligns with people's interests. So for example, if you are actually interested in dogs, if you like dogs like I did, you may go out and try to acquire a business that sells dog treats, right? Or you may be interested in buying a business that's has dog related products, right? And now you're aligning your values and your interests with another passion. So that's one of the big allures of really acquiring a business over other investments. What do you do with the business you acquire? Continue to operate or sell it again? Okay, so when you actually, the buying business part is the first big process, first big step. We're working really hard right now to actually reduce our time. So for us, it took us about 7 months to go from, I'm interested, to actually acquire the business. The next kind of period is really a determination on your part. If you want to stick around and kind of hold the business, people will operate, they'll be the CEO, and that's it. For others who want to develop a portfolio, you may need to get people who can operate it for you. And then over the long term, you can decide if you want to sell it. And it really does depend on your preference. Same way, like in real estate, there's some people who believe in the buy and hold method, where you buy real estate and you hold it for forever, to produce generational cash flow wealth for yourself, right? Others, they see real estate as an opportunity to buy it low and then flip it and then sell it at a higher value. And so for us, and one of the strategies that we're approaching is going to be to acquire businesses, in a way, flip them, build management teams. So that way, if we're buying them at 2 to 3 times a multiple off of the earnings or off of the seller's discretionary earnings, then we'll try to sell it at a higher value in the future. The other option as well is you can actually go and exit through an IPO. IPO would be a little bit more intensive, but there's plenty of people who are actually going through the process. And I've met a couple of people actually from the different groups that I'm in who that's what they do. They're basically going from acquiring a business, getting a business to a point where it's producing about 100 million roughly in revenue, and then seeing how they can exit to an IPO. So it's pretty good. In other words, what's your business model? Yeah, so the business model that our fund is really focused on is going to be on developing a large portfolio of internet businesses that we can roll up. Sometimes if we can consolidate them, we will consolidate them and then try to sell them off to other larger firms for whatever purpose. So like I said, very, very valuable asset class when it comes to investments. So really great questions. One of the things I forgot to mention when it came to business acquisition is that, sometimes when you think about business acquisitions, again, you think of it as a impossible endeavor, right? And that's what I thought in the beginning. I was very, very eager to achieve some personal goals of my own, and when it came to lifestyle. And again, it really having that motivating factor was what really helped. And so one of the things that I'm doing with my clients when I'm coaching with people is kind of figuring out what is it that they really want in terms of their lifestyle, their personal lives and their goals, and really using that as the catalyst to get them towards pursuing business acquisitions as a means or as a vehicle to get there. For us, it was the desire to have this dream home, and that we've always wanted, and that's actually something that, again, can be very, very powerful when it comes to a motivating factor. For others, it might be something else, maybe your family, maybe something else. But again, being able to acquire a business is really, really powerful to get to those end needs, right? So any other questions? Because I do want to share a couple things that might be valuable for some of you guys. If you are getting to the point where you're saying, hey, Rich, this is awesome. How do I get started? Where do I go? What are some of the resources, additional resources? Where can I learn? But I want to make sure I spend some time answering a couple more questions if you guys have some. How hard was the process of acquiring a business? So, in the beginning, I would say that it was in a way somewhat difficult because of the lack of information. I should say not the lack of information. There's plenty of information now. I think what was lacking was the step-by-step process, right? And, I read a couple great books, joined a couple mastermind groups, and, piecemealed a lot of different information together. And that was one of the hardest parts is, if you don't have everything, you kind of have to go to different places. I've spent a ton of money just so that I can learn and accelerate my process. And so one of the things that I'm trying to do now is really for anyone who's going to, wants to work with me, is to give all of that information in a way that is very, very direct and very specific, meaning the Trello board, right? Having Trello tasks and things to do that will guide you towards your next step. So for example, one of the first key pieces is just knowing, sending out LOIs, right? And then one of the things that, we will have as part of this is checkpoints. So that way we can say, okay, have you sent out, LOIs? How many have you sent out, right? This is a very numbers driven process. And if you can actually start to put goals for yourself as well, similar to how you would have goals for yourself in terms of, fitness, that's one of the things that will really get you going as well. So I would say, yes, in the beginning, the process was difficult. However, being able to have a team makes that process, much simpler. And you really do need to have key people on your team. You need to have an individual who understands the actual due diligence process. From when it comes to financial due diligence, there's a lot of things that have to go into, reviewing the accounting, reviewing the books, reviewing the, the business itself when it comes to the financial. And then you also need people who can also take a look at the operational, part of the business. If you don't have those types of people, that's the part that, my firm and I, we have essentially established relationships with key individuals that have done this and will plan to do it for other people. And so that's the part that will also be addressed. And then the last thing I think that really made the process hard, but now I think is easy, is the identification or the sourcing of money, right? Finance. Because some of these businesses that are selling, let's go back to them, right? They're selling, here, if we go to the Quiet Light Brokerage, there's a listing site, this one is selling for $23 million, right? if you have $23 million, then you're probably not on this call right now. You're probably doing something else. But for most of us who don't have $23 million at this current moment, how do you get a business that's worth $23 million, right? It really does go back to being able to establish relationships with financial partners or people who have the means. And so this type of business, in the fact that it's a Shopify e-commerce business, a lot of lenders or financial institutions are starting to realize that e-commerce has a large potential when it comes to delivering returns. And so being able to talk to the right financial partners who already have connections to lots and lots of capital, they will look at this deal and they'll probably say, oh, this is something that we can underwrite. This is something that we can fund, and we'll give you, a loan, same way that you would get a loan for a car or get a loan for a home. You actually can get a loan for buying a business. And once you get that loan, you can essentially use the business's revenue and the actual profits that you're going to get to put and pay back the loan. So that way you're actually able to, still live a very good lifestyle, right, with the actual business. And the way I personally love this idea that you can deliver additional value by, taking something that you have acquired, grow it, make it better, build it, and then, if it's at a point where it's ready to be sold, then sell it and have it go into the next hands of people. And so again, that's really, really, really valuable when it comes to acquisitions. It's one of the reasons why for the next, foreseeable future, I plan on doing this and kind of acquiring more and more, because of the fact that it has so much value creation for others, right? I mean, you think about this, look at this. This is a conservative, patriotic apparel site. So if you can buy this business and you can make it better, you could grow an audience around this and actually maybe even make it to the point where, it's doing even better. I've had the experience of working on big, massive projects for companies like Disney. I worked alongside Google, and when it comes to the sheer volume of traffic that you can get from these larger sites, and you think about these smaller sites, there's still the same principles, the same concept that you can apply from one to the other, right? It's how can you get people to come to the site? How do you get them to, convert and engage, and how you get them to keep coming back? And luckily, again, we're building up a team of people, experts here with Product Fit to help and assist with the growing side, because the growing side is as hard, if not harder, to do when it comes to generating profit, making it even better. Any other questions? Because I do want to share some others. This is a really good question, by the way. I really do appreciate. Let's see who we still have, on the call, on the Zoom. We are good to go. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is going to share, some next steps. So for people who are interested, potentially looking forward to getting started with acquiring a business, you're probably asking yourself, Rich, how do I even get started? What are the process, everything like that? Through Product Fit, what we're going to do, and this is something we're going to try out, this is the beta version of our programs. We're actually building out an accelerator or a membership program that will help people who want to get started, right? I remember going through this process firsthand and just knowing the difficult and the pains. And so my goal is to build up this program, this platform, if you will, that will enable people of all different experience levels to get started, and really bringing in the different products to support all of the different problems that people face, right? I mean, here you can see there's plenty of tools out there that do it, but they're only able to satisfy certain needs. With the Product Fit and with what we're doing, we're building out products and platforms to help support that. So if you guys are interested, one of the ways that you can actually get started is to go to I'll send you the link, Product Fit /programs. You'll see the section down here called Acquisitions+Growth. It's a membership. Right now, we are only going to be accepting a few people, and we want to make sure that this is actually a good fit for you guys. And so if you think that this is something that you're interested in, click on apply. What this will do is it will actually take you to a calendar invite section, and it will allow you to set up some time. There is a hold of $500 that you will need to place, and this is just so that way we know that you're actually interested, right? That you are investing in yourself, you're investing in this idea that you want to acquire a business, and it really is just a way for us to say that you're serious. If we do the call and we realize that, hey, maybe acquiring a business is going to be too difficult because of your financial situation, or because it's going to be, a little bit more stressed on your personal life, we'll refund you the $500, and we'll basically say, you know what, maybe get started with some of these, these smaller or smaller transactions that you can get from other places, right? We really want to make sure that we're bringing on the right people, because what we're building is something incredible. It's going to be, like I said, a Trello style action step based plan. We're building out incredible tools that will match and even surpass some of the things that are out there when it comes to the sourcing of investors and sourcing of deals, as well as building out our accredited team, which, like I said, is super, super important when it comes to being able to, get yourself over the finish line. So again, if you want to go and see that, just go to productfit.com/programs. You'll actually, like I said, get a chance to talk to myself or one of my colleagues, and we'll kind of sit down, we'll evaluate, we'll see, hey, what are you thinking about? What type of business are you trying to acquire? Maybe even find additional opportunities for you to save some money with your with looking at your cash flow. And then after that, we'll basically assess and say, okay, we have a couple programs. We'll see which one is the right fit for you, based off of how we have the conversation.